All right, so it is actually it's Saturday morning here in Kansas City. My tires came in yesterday on Friday, but I didn't have enough time to get them put on because the Royals were in the ALCS, and I wanted to go to a watch party. So it's Saturday, and I'm putting these things on. So um, here's actually I'm going to show you up close. This is one of the original tires. Um, so you can see there, Kenda. Um, these are, where did I see that at? Oh yeah, here we go. K130. These are K130 cruiser tires made by Kenda. Now, toss that aside. Here's my new tires. They are exactly the same. These are Kenda, as you can see there. And around here, yep, here we go. K130. So it's the exact same tire. It's just newer. So I didn't know that they actually still made these. I was told it was going to be a reproduction, but they're the exact same tire as far as I can tell. So these are our rim strips that we're going to be using. These are higher end ones. They're not made. They're made out of nylon. Um, these ones are a little bit more expensive than the rubber ones, but they are a lot stronger, work a lot better. And we just got some new tubes with Schrader valves, not Presta. Um, yeah, because the holes that are drilled, excuse me, the holes that are drilled in the rims for this bike are actually, yeah, this is from 1968, so they didn't really have Presta back then. All right, so I think we are ready to get started. What do you say we start with our back wheel first? So I'm going to take my rim strip, pop off that rubber band. So these are FSA, I guess. Um, I believe I have one of these rim strips on my Riviera, my main bike over there, I believe. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm remembering. Alright, so I'm going to put this rim strip around this. Just got to find the hole where the valve goes. Okay, so the valve goes right here. Make sure we get that rim strip on. I'm just going to cover everything up on the inside of that rim. Alright, so now that I've got the rim strip in, I'm going to go around the rim of the wheel. And I'm going to make sure that everything's all covered. See, like that, so I need to move it over. When I did this on the on my main bike, the Riviera, I didn't have to worry about doing this part because the rim strips were still good. And I had a flat in it not too long before I got those new tires over there. And so I actually replaced the rim strip, the old one, with one of these. Usually, actually I guess you guys saw in the video from last time that the rim strip was, the old ones were rubber. That's usually what they are. But yeah, if you get these nylon ones, they're a little bit more expensive. These were about $4 a piece. But I think it's worth the investment because the most common problem you're going to have with your bike is flat tires. So whatever you can do to prolong your tire life, having to do that, it's going to make a big difference on maintenance. So that's why I chose to spend a little bit more on these ones. Alright, so my rim strip is in. It's looking pretty good. I got all the little drillings for the spokes. I have all that covered. So, next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my first tire and I'm going to grab my tube. Alright, so I got my tire here, got a tube, and I've got my air pump. So the reason I have the pump with me now is because it's really easy to get a tire, or to get a tube on the tire and the tire back on the rim. It's really easy to do that if you have a little bit of air in your tube. So that's the first thing that we got to do. So open my tube up here. I'm going to open up the valve stem. I'm going to take that cap off of there. And here's my pump. I got this one, it's pretty nice. Man, it's really dark out. I hope it doesn't rain on me here. Rained last night for a little while. Okay. Give this a little bit of air. Yeah, so now there's just a little bit of form in here. I'm going to take that off because this will actually hold its shape pretty well. So these factory tires, yeah, these are all looking pretty good. So, oh yeah, one thing I should mention is that some tires have a drive direction on them where they'll actually have an arrow printed on the side because the tire actually has a front and a back, or a forwards and a backwards. These tires don't because they're actually pretty symmetrical, so I don't need to worry about that. I'll look around in my garage and see if I have any other bike tires that actually have drive directions on them. I'm pretty sure I do. Alright, so here's my valve stem hole there where the valve stem is going to go. So I am going to line that up. Just about have it there. Just got to line that up and push it in. Really close. Trying to get through. I think I actually need to push over that rim strip just a little bit more. To do that, I'm going to take a screwdriver, put that in there. I'm going to see if I can kind of pull the rim strip. Oh, I pushed it way too much. Way too much there. That's a little better, a little more. Alright, I think that's lined up pretty well. So let's try it again, one more time. Aha, there we go. So I got that in. So now I'm just going to go around the tire. I'm going to grab it by the bead seat and try and work that in with my hands. Alright, so have it in place there on that side, have it in place on this side. So, pull that down, that's looking good, and I inflate these to, I'm guessing 40, yep, 40 psi. So now I'm going to take my pump, I'm going to set this down on the ground, plug my pump in, and I'm going to inflate my tire. Alright, that's 40, that looks good. Take that off, and alright, take my valve stem cap, I'm going to put that back on. Alright, we got our first wheel done. So, I'm going to clear out some space here, so I'm going to go ahead and put this wheel back on the bike. So since this is our back wheel, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to get this lined up so that the sprocket here goes on the left side. Coaster brake attachment arm thing, I'm actually not sure what you call that. That goes on the right. So I'm going to grab the chain, going to pull it around just like that. Get it all the way around that sprocket on the bike. I'm going to drop the skewer or the bolt back into our dropouts. And let's see. Yeah. is looking good. So now, our coaster brake piece there. Just going to set that so that that's not actually attached. I need to put that in. Move my rim out of the way. Alright, the toolbox. So I have my bolts and washers and caps and all that stuff from last time, so I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff out. And remember when we did the back tire? It was a 15 millimeter, so I'm going to get my 15 millimeter deep well out because the bolts were so long, or the skewer was so long that I need a deep well for it to work. So I get my deep well, and I'm going to get the 15 millimeter bolts out. I have one of them here. Here's the other one. And I'm going to grab my little black covers. And I'm also going to grab my little screw and the nut for the coaster brake attachment. Alright. So I have a feeling that when I do this, when I reattach, when I start tightening up these nuts, I have a feeling that it's going to try and pull the tire forward, or the wheel forward. I don't want it to do that, because we want our chain to be nice and tight. So nice and tight chain means that the wheel is back as far as it can go. The chain's not actually on right there, but it should connect once I start pedaling, hopefully. Actually, I'm going to try. Yeah. Yep, that's not right. So, I'm actually going to take this off, and I'm going to try and get that chain to go. I think it'll go. Yeah, I think this will actually go around and pull itself on. It looks like it will. Alright, that's lined up good enough. I'll pull back. There we go. Look how tight that chain's looking now. So I'm going to pull this back as far as I can. It's actually, you can see where it was sitting before, where it was sitting before in the dropouts. And I actually have it pulled back a good distance further. Yeah. Alright. Set this to tighten up. And I'm going to tighten up this side. Not super tight, but I want to get it just, good enough. I don't want it to be all the way tightened, because then it'll mean that the other side is not quite right, that it's not all the way in. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to do the same thing. And I've got that looking pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten down the left side. So now I'll go ahead and tighten this one down all the way. And that has actually pulled the wheel a little bit to the left. But it looks like it's okay. Yep, it's not rubbing on anything. It's not rubbing on the chain. So, there we go. That looks good. So that's all done, except for our coaster brake. So, we'll take the screw out. And I'm going to get this realigned. Oh, I actually need to loosen this up, actually. Maybe I gotta do the coaster brake attachment first. It looks like I do. Okay. This is actually my first time doing any kind of maintenance on a bike with coaster brakes. So, I was bound to make a mistake somewhere. Alright, So with this, I had the screw was on this side because I used the screwdriver to take it off. So tighten that up by hand. I'm not going to do it super tight though. I'll finish the tightening up with the screwdriver once the once these nuts are tightened up in the drop out. So that's feeling decent enough there on the right side, and go ahead and completely tighten the left side. I think is what I'm going to do. Left side feels good. Finish tightening up the right side. Now I'm going to finish tightening up that coaster brake, the screw there. So that's all nice and tight. Let's check it one more time. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. So now all we got to do is put on the front wheel. Oh, first these black caps. Put these on. These actually just screw on, they twist on. Alright, so those are looking good. Done with the screwdriver, at least I'm pretty sure I am, so I'm going to set that aside. Done with my 15 mil, so I'm going to put that away. Now you guys remember, in the last video it took a 13, well, it was 15 in the back, which tells me it should have been a 13 in the front because it was smaller, but I used ½ inch because the ½ inch fit better. I'm going to take a closer look at that again, because pretty much to my knowledge every bike uses metric. I just used the ½ inch because it felt more snug around the nut. So we'll take a closer look at that when we get there. But first, we got to get our rim strip on, we got to get our tube on, we got to get our tire on. So same as the first one. Got our rim strip right here. So I'll show you the cool way of doing this. This is what they do in all the bike shops. They grab it by the top and they go just like a yo-yo. I don't know why I didn't do that the first time. Would have been a lot faster, right? Okay, so I got my wheel. I'm going to align the rim strip around the wheel. So I line up the hole and the strip with the hole for the valve. And I'm just going to pull the rim strip around all the way. So, yeah, so these nylon ones, they protect better than the rubber ones. The rubber ones are probably easier to put on though because it's probably a little bit more stretchy than the nylon. So fun fact, back in like the 1950s and up until probably the early 1960s, rim strips were commonly made out of canvas, just like Converse shoes. And they had a little buckle inside, kind of like a belt buckle, that would, you know, tighten it up and lock it in place. But they went away with that, you know, a long time ago. I've never personally seen one of those. I've only seen pictures online of people popping open their tire and they're like, whoa, what the hell, a canvas rim strip? Yeah, rim strip looks good. The hole looks good for our valve. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my new tube. I'm going to take off my valve cover. I'm going to take the sticker off the tire. And I got to grab my pump. And we're going to give it a little bit of air. Alright. We can work with that. So I'll fit my tube inside of the tire. And it keeps coming out. What am I doing? I need to put it on. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So So I got the tube and the tire, got the rim strip on. Don't need to worry about drive direction because these tires are symmetrical on both sides. So now I just got to get the stem, the valve stem, I got to get that lined up and through there, and look at that, look how easy that was. So now we just got to get the tire beads down inside of the rim of the tire. You know, I used to think it was easier to put a tire on than to remove one. But that was before I actually used tire levers. I think it's a lot easier to remove a tire than it is to install one. But it's not that difficult. It's pretty easy. I mean, once you do it once or twice, you know, you can, yeah, it's pretty easy to do. Alright, looks like our bead is in all around on both sides. But you can see I got kind of screwed up there. The valve stem got a little twisted, so I'm going to grab a tire lever and I'm going to take this thing off. And we'll try it again. Okay, so tire lever in. Go all the way around. And look at that, I already got it good enough. So let's see, where is that? Aha, here we go. I'll pull that in just a little bit more. That's the hardest part about changing one, is making sure that valve stem sticks through in the right spot. So we have one of our beads already on, just from, you know, because before I didn't actually pull that through, so it's real easy to get the second one back in place. Alright, second one's on. Valve stem's looking good. Tire's looking good. So time to air this thing up. Alright, we're at 40. Alright. So I got my cover back on. I'm going to put this back in the front dropouts. Alright, so that's sitting in there looking good. So I noticed in the last video that I completely missed showing you guys the washers. So, yeah, that is actually a washer. It locks in. See, it has that little piece there because there's a hole in the frame for you to stick that in. Alright, so we're going to try a 13 again for this. Yeah, 13 doesn't feel too bad. We'll go with that. Alright. So I'm going to put my washer in place. I'm going to put this one in place. I'm going to put the nuts on. Just going to hand tighten them. And then tighten them the rest of the way with the socket. I'm gripping this one pretty firmly over here. I'll come over here. I'll do that with this one. And I think we are looking pretty good. There's a little bit of play here in the front wheel. I'm not exactly sure why, but I will find out. Something probably just needs to be tightened up. Maybe in the fork there. Alright, so that's the installation of my new tires, rim strips, and the tubes, obviously. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to oil up this chain, because I didn't want to do that earlier with the tires off. So we're going to put some oil on this chain, and then this bike will basically be ready to take out on the road. Alright, so you can see the chain up close here. 3-in-1 is what I use to oil my chains. Do not use WD-40. WD-40 is not a lubricant. So what I'm going to do to oil the chain, I've already cleaned it with degreaser. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of run the chain through. I'm going to make sure I get, actually this is a lot easier to do with a bike with a freewheel. Making sure that I get at least a drop on each chain link. Some people are really meticulous and they'll go by one by one every single link and do it. But this is a cruiser bike, project bike, whatever. This is already an old chain. It's just, I don't need to replace the chain. It's good enough. I'm not going to take the time to be really meticulous like that. Get the chain nice and oiled. It's looking pretty good. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take a rag and we're going to, this would actually be much easier if I could do it underneath, but we're going to basically wipe that excess oil off the chain. And there we go. That doesn't look too bad. This, notice how those pins stick out farther, because that's actually where the chain can detach, it looks like. It looks like that's what that is right there. Because that piece is different from all the others. Notice all the others are curved and that one's straight across. That's why. Because that's one of those chain pieces where it attaches or detaches from the bike. So, yeah, there's a little bit of rust on the chain, but it's not a huge deal. Alright, and finally, the last thing I'm going to do is put a little bit of oil on this kickstand. While it is okay, it could be better. So put a couple drops in here, a couple drops there, a couple drops in there. I'm going to move this all around so it takes that all in. Alright. Put a little bit on there too. There we go. Alright. Alright. So, my bike is road ready. I am going to take it out for a spin. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I think that's enough for today for how to change your tires. Well, actually installing new tires, oiling the chain, doing this. I am going to put up another video here pretty quick. I got some new grips, and they are Sew On Yourself leather grips by Velo Orange. So next video, I'm going to show you guys how to install those. I'm not much of a seamstress, so I'm going to have my wife do it. Yeah, so going to get some new grips, and this bike's going to be pretty awesome. So hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.